Hi, friends. Today we are going to learn about the essay written by Virginia Woolf, A Room of One's Own. A Room of One's Own is published in 1929 and it is based on two lectures she gave at women's colleges in 1928. And this essay is considered to be one of the foundational texts of feminist literary criticism. Her central argument is very simple. A woman must have money and a room of her own if she is to write fiction. Meaning, economic independence and personal freedom are essential for women to create art. The central themes of this essay are: one is patriarchal society and women's oppression. For centuries, men controlled education, property, literature, and history. Women were excluded from universities, denied financial independence, and defined by men. As a result, their creativity was stifled. Woolf examines how social conditions explain women's lack of literal output. Then she talks about material conditions of creativity. She says great art needs freedom from poverty and dependence. Men had libraries, leisure, and money, and women were trapped in domestic labor. Without material stability, intellectual liberty is impossible. So, according to her, intellectual freedom depends upon material things. And in her essay, the room is a symbol. Room as a symbol represents private space, mental autonomy, and self possession. And she invents an imaginary sister of Shakespeare, Judith Shakespeare. She is equally talented but denied education, ridiculed, and trapped by gender roles. Judith Shakespeare's life shows that even genius cannot bloom in a repressive society. This symbolizes the silenced potential of generations of women. She observes that women's writing is often shaped by anger as a reaction to centuries of injustice. But she warns that anger can distort art if not transformed into creative energy. True artistic power requires freedom from bitterness. And one of Woolf's key ideas is the androgynous mind. The ideal writer has an androgynous mind, a balance of masculine and feminine energies. And according to her, creative genius transcends gender. She draws this from Coleridge's notion that the great minds are androgynous. Woolf examines three ideas: women as the writer of fiction, women as characters in fiction, women's relationship with fiction. Men have written endlessly about women, but women have rarely written about themselves, and she notes the irony of this. And she talks about the canon and literary history. Most of the literary canon was built by men about men. Women's voices were excluded or stereotyped as angels in the house, temptress, or mad women. Woolf urges women to rewrite history and to create their own literary tradition. She demands to kill the angels in the and the phrase angels in the house comes from Woolf's later essay, but its spirit appears in this essay itself. The angel is the ideal woman, self sacrificing, pure, pleasing, voiceless. Woolf insists that women writers must kill this inner angel to write honestly. Women were barred from libraries and universities at her time. In the essay, she tries to enter Oxbridge and stopped by Beadle, symbolizing the gatekeeping of knowledge. Once again, in her essay Room of One's Own, Virginia Woolf tries to enter university named Oxbridge and is stopped by the character named Beadle, who symbolizes the gatekeeping of knowledge. According to her, knowledge is equal to power. Denying women access keeps them intellectually subordinate. And she talks about economic independence. She says that money liberates women and financial autonomy is equal to creative autonomy. And many early women writers had to publish anonymously or under male pseudonym. Example are great writers George Eliot, Currer Bell, etc. They published under male pseudonyms. Woolf argues that anonymity was a condition of survival in patriarchal times. But she also dreams of a future when women can sign their names freely. Woolf criticizes male writers for their distorted images of women. They depicted women as either angels or monsters. Real women's experiences were absent from literature. She calls for writing that reflects authentic female consciousness. Woolf predicts that in 100 years, women will have the conditions needed to write freely. When that happens, women will write not as victims but as full, complex individuals. The future of literature depends on women finding their voices. So that's it for today. Signing off. Bye bye.